For those of you who work with pivot tables, I want to show you a feature in Excel pivot tables that most pivot table users don't know exist. And for some of you who watch this may be the best thing about pivot tables you've ever seen. I have a tabular set of data here, which is just typical transactional information. There's nothing fancy going on here. Now let's see what most people would do with a table like this. I'm making an assumption that you've used pivot tables before and you have a basic understanding. So each of these examples has part of the pivot table already built. But all I've done is create a pivot table and added the products to the rows field. So I receive a unique sorted list of products. Now most people's next step is to do something like this. Go into the field list, find something like sales, put it in the values. And then you get the sum of the sales for each of those products. I'm going to rename this heading to sales. Now notice it won't let me do that. That's because there's already a field with the name sales. Now I could name it something like total sales, but I really have my heart set on the word sales. Well, here's a bit of a cheat. We can name it sales with a space, because sales with a space is not the same thing as sales. And I'd probably do something like align it to the right side of the cell. Now a lot of pivot table users, this is where the end of the pivot table calculations is reached. Now you could change this base aggregation from a sum to an average, a max, a min, or a count. And since we're here, let me show you a way to do this that you might not be familiar with. Most people are taught that the way to change the base aggregation is to go into the values field well, click on the sales field, go to value field settings, and then change the base aggregation here. Let me show you another way that's a little bit faster. Cancel. In the pivot table, if you just right-click on one of those sales calculations, we have an entry here that says summarize values by, and you have all those same options. So I could very quickly change it to average, or right-click summarize values by count, or right-click summarize values by sum. Now when you do that, you'll lose your custom heading, so I'd have to go back here and rename this to sales space. But that's just a different way to change the base aggregation. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to introduce you to an entire goldmine of pre-built calculations. In other words, pre-built formulas that will help you tell different stories that go well beyond sum, average, max, min, and count. Now to get to this gold mine of pre-built formulas, we can right-click on one of those calculations, and instead of going to summarize values by, we'll go to show values as, and this is the list of pre-built formulas. Now I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but I want to go through several of them to give you a flavor for the power that you have here. So let's say that I wanted to create a ranking system that shows the number one selling product all the way down to the last or worst selling product. Well, to build that ranking system, I'm just going to add sales a second time to my values field well. So I have sales and sum of sales. If I take this copy of the sum of sales, right-click, and say show values as, I'm going to apply a ranking to this. If you apply smallest to largest, the smallest value is 1 and the largest value is, say, 10. If you choose largest to smallest, then the largest number is 1, and then the lowest value is, say, 10. In my case, since the higher the value, the greater the position, I want my number one seller to be 1, so I'm going to choose rank largest to smallest. Now, it needs to know what you're ranking on. I don't have a hierarchy in my rows field, so there's only one thing to pick from, which is product. But if your row fields had a hierarchy, like distributor by product, then you'd want to choose the base field. In other words, what are you ranking? Are you ranking the distributors or are you ranking the products? Well, in this case, I'm only ranking products, so I'll hit OK. And I can now see that gloves is my number one seller and exercise machines was my worst seller. Now I'm going to rename this to rank and then change its alignment. I think that would look better if it was in front of the sales, so in my values field well, I'm going to put rank above sales. Now at this point, I could do something like go to the rank and right-click and sort it from largest to smallest. So that way, instead of this being sorted in alphabetical order by product, it's in numerical order by rank. Of course, I could have sorted it by the sales as well. I didn't need the rank to do this. Well, what if I'd also like to know what percentage of all sales was each individual product? Because it looks like gloves is around 20% of all sales, and basketballs is around, say, 9% of sales. So I need to write a formula where each of these numerators is divided by this denominator. Well, instead of writing a formula, I'm just going to add sales a third time to the values field well. Now I'll get another default sum of sales, but I'm going to right-click on that, go to show values as, and choose percentage of grand total. And there's my formula. I'll rename this title to percent of sales and align it. Now, how about a little conditional formatting thrown in to make this even better? I do like the fact that I get the grand total of all sales, but I don't think I need to see that all of these percentages add up to 100%, because that's what it's always going to say. Now, I can't hide that with any built-in control, but what I can do is apply some conditional formatting. So I'll go to conditional formatting, highlight rule, and I want to know if it's equal to 100%. Now, I don't want to color the cell red. I actually want to make the font invisible. So I'm going to go into the custom formatting. Now for the color, unfortunately, you can't say transparent or no color. So what we have to do is we have to go to the number formatting tab, go to custom. Now here's a really cool trick if you want to make anything in a cell invisible. For the custom formatting, the formatting code for this is 3 semicolons. Now if you want to learn more about custom number formatting, just do a Google search for Excel custom number format. Whatever comes up first, either as a blog article or a video, watch it. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. But learning these codes unlocks a whole new realm of possibilities. But in this case, the 3 semicolons means make it invisible. I hit OK, and so now I don't have to look at that 100%. What's really great about this is if you took something like, hey, let's pull product out of the rows and replace it with suppliers, all these will recalculate except for the ranks, because remember, the ranks were told to rank according to the product. Well, now we have suppliers. This is one of the weaknesses of these functions. They sometimes get tied to a specific field, but it's easy enough to fix because you can just go back to this rank, say show values as, and it even tells you here which one you're using, rank largest to smallest, and you just have to reprogram it from product to supplier. Hit OK. Now, since I added supplier, it put it in alphabetical order, so I'm going to right-click on a rank and say sort largest to smallest. But I'm still not seeing that 100% in the percent of sales column. Now let's take a look at percentages. So I have a couple pivot tables here built that just have date information in them. We'll start off by just taking this first pivot table on the left and adding sales to the values field well. I'll rename this to sales with a space and align it. But now let's add sales again. Now we'll get another sum of sales. But I'm going to right-click on this second set and go to Show Values As, and I'm going to choose Percentage of Grand Total. And I'll rename this to Percent of Sales. So what we're looking at here is in the month of May for 2022, this made up 3.73% of sales for the entire data set. So each one of these months is in competition with every other month of every other year. Now, in the case of 2022, all of these months added up to 30.78%. 2023 added up to 52.75%. 2024 added up to 16.47%, which means everything added up to 100%. Now, if you don't want to see that 100%, we can do like we did before, conditional format, highlight, equal to, go into the custom format, and make a custom number format of 3 semicolons. Now, what if you want to show the sales in the percentage, but you don't want the percentages to span years? You want the 100% to be confined to a single year. So in other words, each year accumulates to 100%. Therefore, each year would reset. Well, for our second pivot table on the right, we'll add sales to the values field well. This is just a sum aggregation. I'll rename it to sales with a space. I'm going to add sales again, but I will right-click on one of these second set of sales and say show values as, and this time it's going to be percentage of parent row total. So since the years are in rows, the year is a parent to a month, this is the option. I'll rename this to percent of sales. So all of these months in 2022 add up to 100%. We can see that down here in our quick calculations. For 2023, these 12 months add up to 100%. For 2024, these 4 months add up to 100%. However, 2022 makes up 30% of each year's sales. 2023 makes up 52%. 2024 makes up 16%. And all of those years add up to 100%. And if you didn't want to see that, I'm going to cheat a little. I'll go over here to the one I've already hidden, do a paint formatter, and then click on this percentage. So this is the percent of sales where we look at everything together, and one where we look at everything by parent level. Now let's look at cumulatives, otherwise known as running totals. For my pivot table on the left, I already have my years and months in my rows. I'll add sales to the values. I'll rename it to sales with a space, but then I'm going to add sales a second time. I'll right-click, show values as, and then running total in. Now it needs to know, is the running total within the months or the years, because I have a hierarchy. So I'm going to choose months. Hit OK and give it a better title. So if you look closely, in May we had 67,000 in sales and the running total 67,000. But in June we had 77,000 sales and now we're up to 145, which is the running total of May and June. By the time we get down to December, we had 34,000 in sales, totaling up to 560,000, which is the total for that year. Now, because I said to do this by month, 2023 resets. So it goes from 43,000 to start to 961 at the end. And then 2024 resets, 75,000 to 300,000. And of course, we have a grand total of 1.8 million. Well, what if instead of going month over month and resetting each year, we did month over month and then had a running total by year as well? So let's go to our second pivot table. We already have our year and month in the rows. I'll add sales to the values. I'll rename it to sales with a space. I'm going to add sales a second time, but I'm going to right click on that second set of sums, go to show values as, running total in, but instead of months, I'm going to choose years. Hit OK. Now it doesn't look like much happened. Before I show you, let me rename this to running total by year. So in 2022, for the first month, we had 67,000 in sales. By the time we get down to December, we had 34,000 in sales. Now this is just a repeat of the values, but look at the yearly total. It's 560,000. At the bottom of the next year, that total is the 2022 total added to the 2023 total, 1.5 million. And then the next year, the yearly running total is now 1.8 million, which is the grand total of everything. Now, how about this same cumulative idea, but as a cumulative percentage? I have my year and my month in my row field. I'll add sales to the values. I'll rename the heading, but then I'll add sales a second time to the values. Right click on one of those sales, go to show values as, and we're going to choose percentage running total in. Now, just like before, you have to pick which level you're trying to do this running total against, and I want to do it against the months. So I hit OK. I'll rename my heading, and now I can see in 2022, first month was 12%. By the time we hit the second month, we've reached 25% of our sales. By the time we hit the third month, we've reached 41%. And by December, we've reached 100%. When we go into the next year, this all resets. So we start at 4%, end at 100. Next year, start at 25%, end at 100. Now, how about differences from? In other words, when we went from month to month, did we make money or did we lose money compared to the prior month? So my left pivot table has my years and my months already in the rows field. I'll add sales to the values, rename the heading, but then I'll add sales a second time. Go to one of those second set numbers, right click, show values as, and choose difference from. Now here's the catch. I want to look from month to month, but the rookie mistake a lot of people make is that if my first month is May, people will pick the first month. I don't want to look at a specific month. I want to make sure that each month always looks at the previous month, not a fixed month. Hit OK. I'll rename this to difference previous month. And maybe I'd like to format my negative values as red. So I could right click number format and then just choose a red style for my negative numbers. And so now I see month over month. Did I make or lose money from the previous month? Now, what if you want to see if you made or lost money in a particular month compared to the same month of the prior year? In other words, difference previous year instead of difference previous month. Well, just like before, I'll add sales to the values of my second pivot table. I'll format the heading. I'll add sales a second time, right click on one of those second set numbers, show values as, and choose difference from. But this time I'm going to choose difference from the year. And the base item will still be previous, but instead of the previous month of the current year, it'll be the same month of the previous year. I'll hit OK. So in 2022, we had no previous year for those months to look at. And since the previous year started in May, it wasn't until May where we were able to create an actual difference calculation. So if I scroll back up a little bit, we had 67,000 in May of 2022. We had 76,000 in May of 2023, which is an increase of $8,000. In June, we had 77,000 of 2022. June of the following year went from 77,000 to 74,000. So we lost $3,000. There was an increase of $400,000 in 2023 over 2022, and there was a loss of $600,000 in 2024. Not really a fair comparison since 2023 was a full year and 2024 is only a partial year, but we still have time to catch up. For the finale, I want to show you a really cool trick that combines these custom-baked formulas with conditional formatting icon sets. I've got my pivot table with year and month in the rows. I'll add sales to the values. I'll rename it to sales with a space. Now I'm going to add sales a second time. Now this one I want to be the difference from the previous month like we saw just a moment ago. So I'll right click one of these numbers, show values as difference from, and this will be by month and it will be by the previous month. I'm going to format the negative numbers, so right click number format, and I'll make negative numbers red with parentheses. I'll change my title, difference previous month, but now here's the cool trick. I would like to have next to each of those previous month values a little green up arrow or a little red down arrow to indicate graphically whether I made money or lost money. So to do this, we're going to add sales a third time to the values field well. Now this is just going to give us another sum of sales. I'm going to change the logic of these to match the logic of the difference previous month. So right click, show values as difference from, and it will be months as a previous. But now let's layer conditional formatting on this. With one of those third set numbers selected, I'm going to go to conditional formatting, icon sets, and you can choose anything you want in here. But for me, I think on dashboards, the three triangles, in other words, it's a green up triangle, a red down triangle, and a yellow line for neutral, is subtle yet still informative. So I'll pick that. Now, if you've never used conditional formatting in pivot tables, initially the conditional format only applies to the single cell that you were on. So you have to click this little blue button and then tell it that you'd like to change the scope of application from a single cell to every sum of sales that deals with a month. And then you'll get this. Now the icons are there, but they're not accurate to the story I'm telling. So if you go to conditional formatting, manage rules, and we're going to edit this icon set rule. See, right now the icons are being distributed in equal thirds based on the range of data. I'm going to change these from percentages to numbers. I'm going to leave them at 0. That way anything above a 0 is green, anything below a 0 is red. And I don't want an icon if I actually have no change from month to month. So instead of this yellow line, I'm going to change that to no cell icon. I'll hit OK, and now I get green up arrows and red down arrows to graphically represent change. Now this needs a small bit of polish. I don't need to see those actual change values twice. So I'll go back to conditional formatting, manage rules, edit rule, and I'm going to engage the show icon only option because this will hide the underlying values and leave me only with the icons. And now I get this. I don't need a title for this, but I can't have titleless columns in a pivot table. So what I've found is when I add these icons, assuming it's the only set of icons in this table, the name I'm going to give this column is just a big cheat. So remember how we had to add a space to the end of sales so it wouldn't conflict with the native sales field? Well, in the case of this column, I'm going to name it 3 space bars because 3 spaces is about the width of this arrowhead. So when I hit enter, I can now resize this, and the column is only wide enough to support the icons. 2 seems to be too little, 4 seems to be too much. But now look what we have here. The years and the months, sales per month, how much did we change month over month, and then graphically, did we make money or lose money? So that is the gold mine that is show values as. Take advantage of all of these functions. Experiment with them. See what they have to offer. There are so many things in here that are pre-built that will save you the time of building them or save you the time of Googling them and trying to figure out how to write these formulas yourself. Make sure you download the file I used in this demonstration from the link in the video description. That way you can practice this or just go into my finished product and see how I had everything set. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And if you have any other creative uses of the whole show values as or pairing conditional formatting with these functions, put that down in the comments too. I've had some great ideas come from you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching, and remember at BCTI, the learning never stops.